traders, originally called rogue traders militant during the era of the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, bear the ancient title of Lord Captain, first granted by the Emperor himself. These unique and powerful human individuals serve as a combination of freelance explorers, conquistadors, and interstellar merchants for the Imperium of Man. Every rogue trader is a hereditary Imperial servant and high-ranking noble, given a starship, a crew, and sometimes a contingent of space marines, troops of the Astra Militarum, or mercenaries. They have carte blanche to roam the worlds of the galaxy that still lie beyond Imperial control or knowledge, exploring and exploiting these uncharted regions for mankind. Rogue traders might come across worlds harboring long-forgotten human civilizations, which will later be incorporated into the Imperium. They might also find empty or alien-dominated planets ripe for colonization, conquest, or exploitation. Bearing a sacred warrant of trade, rogue traders are empowered to journey beyond the boundaries of the Imperium to trade, explore, and make war in the God Emperor's name. They may be newly entitled powers on the rise or hail from long dynastic lineages of nobles and voidfarers. Regardless of their origins, all rogue traders bear their titles with pride, striking out into the unknown in search of fortune and glory. They are masters of their own fates, a rare thing in the Imperium of the 41st millennium. Rogue traders often come from a dynasty of great leaders and visionary military commanders with a lineage stretching back standard millennia. Others are from younger, more dynamic families, often coming from the ranks of the Adeptus Terra, the Imperial Navy, or the Astra Militarum. Whatever their origins, all rogue traders are masters of their own destinies. They may not steer the helm of their void ship, nor fire and aim every macro cannon in person, but they select and command those who do, and it is their orders that are obeyed. Rogue traders must always look to their own abilities and protection, for there will always be those envious of their power and station. Most have a penchant for the finest personal weapons and equipment their fortunes can acquire. None are ever unarmed, bearing even aboard their own vessels minute digital weapons and other implements of destruction. Rogue traders must be supremely confident in their own abilities and able to walk away from even the most desperate situations, somehow having profited from their perilous adventure, even if that profit must be counted purely by their survival. Rogue traders had their origins in the demands of the early days of the Great Crusade. The first expeditionary fleets of the Crusade pushed outwards into the galaxy, led by a class of martial leaders that would become known as the Rogue Trader Militant. Many of these individuals were former rulers of realms the Emperor had cast down. They were offered a stark choice: bend the knee before the Emperor and swear service to the Great Crusade, or die by his hand. Those who chose service took up the Emperor's warrant of trade. The Rogue Trader militants were expected to scout ahead of the leading edge of the Great Crusade, accompanied by their armies. Operating so far ahead of the Emperor's crusading armies, they could expect little or no aid. Many vanished alone and unheralded, slain, consumed, or enslaved by nameless Xenos abominations far from the light of terror. The million or more human-inhabited worlds the Imperium controls are but a tiny fraction of the galaxy. Most of the Milky Way galaxy remains unexplored, unknown, and extremely dangerous even in the 41st millennium. Furthermore, rogue traders are free to explore these far regions of the galaxy, the areas where the Astronomicon does not reach, and those within its reach as yet unvisited by humanity. Operating in isolation from the central authority of the Imperium, rogue traders must decide for themselves how to react to alien cultures, new discoveries, and threats. If they judge an intelligent Xenos race to be potentially dangerous, they may attempt to destroy it or gather information so that others may do so. If they decide a Xenos race may be of use to humanity, they may attempt to establish diplomatic and economic relations. Rogue traders are granted considerable resources in void craft, troops, and other staff to complete their missions. Their responsibility may extend to dozens of void craft, crammed with a small army, a full crew of technicians, and volunteer settlers to establish colonies on new worlds. Many rogue traders are individuals who have reached a position of power within the Imperium's governing hierarchy, often drawn from the ranks of the Adeptus Terra, the Navis Imperialis, the Astra Militarum, or even the Inquisition. In the wake of the birth of the Great Rift, nearly 100 rogue traders were invited to Macragge for an emergency symposium by Robuta Guilliman, the resurrected Primarch of the Ultramarines. He claimed that the Imperium was locked in a struggle for its spirit as much as its body, and knew that every resource would be needed to save mankind, and that the rogue traders would be vital. They were to find new worlds to conquer in the name of the Emperor, fresh lands upon which mankind could settle and thrive. Within solar days, the fleets of the rogue traders had left the realm of Ultramar, bound for the yawning reaches of space beyond the eastern fringe and the extremities of the Ultima Segmentum spiral arm. The most valuable possession of a rogue trader is their Imperial Warrant of Trade, an ancient legal document that describes and sanctions the accepted limits of a rogue trader and their descendants' operations within the framework of Imperial law. These charters are hereditary, creating entire rogue trader dynasties. Rogue traders are empowered by the High Lords of Terra to travel freely within the Imperium and beyond. This allows them to interact with cultures that normal Imperial citizens are forbidden contact with. Rogue traders usually return within the boundaries of Imperial space every few Terran years to unload their exotic wares and resupply, recruit and rest until their next foray into unknown space. Many rogue traders dispute the right of the Imperium to exercise authority over them, having wandered amongst alien stars and conversed with all manner of cultures. They are viewed as susceptible to all kinds of heresies, from wayward philosophies to infection by alien creatures or possession by warp entities. Imagine that this can lead to violent confrontations, particularly if the rogue trader has knowledge or an artifact coveted by others within the Imperial hierarchy. Despite their power and autonomy, no two rogue traders are exactly alike, but all are exceptional individuals with a drive and personal ambition that sets them far above the teeming ranks of humanity. They come from a wide range of backgrounds, often from the Imperial Navy, Adeptus Terra, Astra Militarum, or even the Inquisition. Many are exceptionally skilled captains and admirals of their fleets, able to take on enemies never encountered by the Imperium and emerge victorious. Rogue traders maintain a network of contacts across the sectors they serve, able to call upon old friends for aid when needed. They prefer to get by on their own skills and only call in favors when things get desperate. Rogue traders from a naval background often maintain the trappings of their former rank, ornamented with all manner of additional finery. Thus, a rogue trader might wear a formal dress coat similar to that worn by a high admiral, complete with rows of medals and awards, gold-braided epaulets, and meters of elaborate piping. Yet they might also wear their hair braided in the fashion of a feral world tribe, or facial tattoos in the style of a Hive City gang. As we conclude our exploration of the rogue traders, it can be said that rogue traders are the adventurous pioneers of the Imperium, exploring the galaxy's vast and dangerous unknowns. Granted unprecedented freedom and power, they balance official duty with personal ambition. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive, and remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Until next time.